Got to keep y'all up to date on what's going on in Chicago when it comes to that cop that got slain, right? Apparently, they found video footage and arrested the man that was disposing of the gun, not necessarily the person that killed the cop, but the person that was disposing of the gun, the police officer's gun, and it's tied to a completely different robbery. It's really unveiling all of this spider web that's going on in Chicago. Take a look.
Carol, today a Cook County judge ordered Cassius Tate be jailed for violating the pretrial release conditions related to an unrelated burglary charge. And tonight we're now seeing video of that burglary from just a few weeks ago for the first time. It wasn't a quick burglary, but prosecutors say it was a calculated and effective one. Prosecutors say one of these hooded men is Cassius Tate, shattering the windows of the brand new Katie's convenience store in South suburban Richton Park and hauling out an ATM chock full of thousands of dollars of cash. Police spotted, chased, and arrested Cassius Tate and his alleged accomplice for the burglary. This was April 19th. 2 days before police say Tate's relative, Xavier Tate Jr., shot and killed Chicago police officer Luis Huesca. A judge released Cassius Tate on electronic monitoring.
At what point do you get hard on crime, man? Look at this.
Luis Huesca, a judge.
If y'all have no idea what's going on in Chicago, we've been covering this, we predicted it. And now there's lives, including police officers, that have their lives taken off duty on their way home from work. And we've been covering this and we've been talking about this for a while. And what is one of the things that we've been covering? The Safety Act. The Safety Act is a program that was instituted by Illinois, by the state, not just the city of Chicago, but by the state, absolutely supported by what was going on in Chicago. And they're basically allowing for criminals to run rampant, and it doesn't matter how severe the crime is that they commit, including stealing a whole bunch of money, which we used to take theft very seriously. They're releasing these guys out to the general public to go out there and terrorize you, and this is one of the reasons why you now have police officers' lives being taken and why their family is saying that we don't want the mayor to come over to the funeral. Never should have been out on the street in the first place, bro.
Released Cassius Tate on electronic monitoring. On Friday, investigators closed in on a brick home in Chicago's far south Morgan Park neighborhood looking for Xavier Tate Jr. Prosecutors say Tate Jr. had taken an Uber to a home in this area near 108th and South Hale on April 21st, hours after police say he'd gunned down Officer Huesca and been spotted in Gage Park convenience stores. Inside the home, investigators didn't find the suspect they'd come looking for. Instead, they say his relative, Cassius Tate, ducked away from investigators inside, tossing a gun over the fence outside. With that, prosecutors say police hauled Cassius Tate away in handcuffs. In court Tuesday, prosecutors say the gun Cassius Tate had tried to dispose of was a 9mm semi-automatic handgun with a few serial numbers scratched off. What remained, prosecutors say, identified the gun as Officer Huesca's stolen police weapon.
Is there anything more to say right now? Let's just play the rest of the video.
Now with Cassius Tate locked up, investigators are hoping to quickly track down Officer Huesca's accused killer. The arrest warrant signed for Xavier Tate Jr. states that he has ties to Aurora, Olympia Fields, Champaign, and Decatur. Tonight, investigators are still looking for tips on his whereabouts while warning the public that he should be considered armed and dangerous.
And you know what the worst part about this whole thing is that there's people that's probably harboring him. Absolutely people that's harboring this dude. And I believe that anybody that's harboring this guy and protecting him, they need to be arrested and they need to be charged also with harboring a criminal and a fugitive. 100% of people need to start being charged to the fullest extent of the law, because we already know who the culprits are that's doing all of this nonsense inside of our environments and in our neighborhoods, but we continue to protect them. Anyways, moving on, because we got more than one quick hits that we want to address. This is a man, the man that shot the 8 officers over in Charlotte. Do we see a trend happening here, ladies and gentlemen? I hate to say it, but I know that they always going to say, well, you know, it's the system's fault, or it's not just black people, or it's just crimes based off of proximity. Do we see a trend here? Is it a trend happening right now? No? Okay. I guess it's not just crimes based off of proximity. It's actually people in a profile that comes along with it. Black lips, nappy.
The suspect who opened fire on the U.S. Marshals Task Force has a history of crime in North Carolina, including here in the Triad. Terry Clark Hughes Jr. was arrested in Alamance County after a high-speed chase in 2012. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake spoke to the Alamance County Sheriff about his rap sheet.
Eluding arrest, possession of a firearm by a felon, possession of cocaine, speed, eluding arrest. All these charges came from a high-speed chase arrest in 2012 in Alamance County.
What are we doing in society to protect our officers and our people?
Investigators say 4 officers shot and killed in Charlotte at the hands of one man, 39-year-old Terry Clark Hughes Jr.
And it upset me tremendously, and I'm still upset over it.
Alamance County Sheriff Terry Johnson says Hughes is a man with a long criminal record.
I am fed up with it, I'll be honest with you. And with this man's record I have in front of me, page after page after page, charged numerous times.
Hughes had a run-in with Alamance County deputies back in 2012. Deputies arrested Hughes back then after a high-speed chase. Deputies say Hughes led them on a chase at speeds over 100 miles per hour after turning around to avoid a checkpoint. His sentence, 2 years and 2 months. Sheriff Johnson says after this conviction and other run-ins with the law throughout the years, he should have still been behind bars.
I don't understand it. And now, I hope the people that tried this man realize they got these 8 officers' blood on them.
Here's a look at other incidents involving Terry Hughes. He was convicted of breaking and entering in Person County in 2010. He also has multiple drug charges in May 2021 in Charlotte.
It's almost like you're getting a stake through your heart when you lose officers like this. These are men and women that go to work every day, put that gun and badge on, tell their family, hey, love you, see you later on today. Never come back again. It's senseless.
Sheriff Johnson says one of those officers killed could have very well been one of his. A lot of agencies, including Alamance County, have their men assigned to the U.S. Marshal's Office, DEA Task Force, ATF Task Force, and so many others.
And these guys is just getting released. They out on the street. They got long rap sheets. We're supposed to give them the benefit of the doubt. And it's not necessary for them to actually be able to stand on anything as far as making sure that we're doing the right thing for the people and the constituents that pay for your salary as judges and legislators, but they are more incentivized to let these people run rampant on the street than they are to hold them accountable and prevent them from doing crimes against other people, which then led to, obviously, 8 police officers shot, which 4 of them are now dead, and it's unfortunate. In other news, on Quick Hits, an 11-year-old in Atlanta killed in his own home. Check it out.
With those developments in Paulding County, where an 11-year-old boy was shot and killed in his own home. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Russ Spence.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Now investigators are trying to track down the shooter. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in Paulding County.
And Denise, investigators believe someone fired into that home.
Yeah, that's right. During the day, I counted more than half a dozen bullet holes on the side of this house, and one of those bullets hit 11-year-old Xander Watley.
We heard gunshots, so I had told my kids to get down, and I just started calling 911.
Bullets pierced the walls of this home in the Smallwood Farm subdivision in Paulding County late Monday night. Sharita Alexander Dorsey, her husband, and 9 of their children were inside at the time. They tried to take cover, but one of the bullets hit 11-year-old Xander Watley.
He actually got hit downstairs running up the steps, and the bullet came through and hit him on the side.
Xander was rushed to the hospital, but did not survive. The family believes the shooter may have a connection to one of Xander's older siblings.
He's friends with 2 of the guys. One guy, the guy that came shot the house, he, I guess, mad because our son was friends with the other guy that he was mad at.
You got to be really bold to do something like that, What we need to do is just put the guns down. Think for a minute, you ain't going to get away with something like that.
As investigators with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office and the GBI try to track down whoever fired those shots, the family is grieving the loss of Xander. a 5th grader at Hutchins Elementary.
Zeno
Fifth
was
grader.
a happy kid. You know, he was in student council. He loved going to school.
He was a real intelligent guy, smart, kind, you know, just a humble little guy.
No, a real intelligent child. See this guy?
You know,
That's a child. That's an 11-year-old child. Gone too early, life taken from them. Why? Because black lives don't really matter, and we all know who's who the shooters, who the jack boys, and who's doing all of the crime and the shooting and the polluting in the community. But we refuse to take accountability for our own people and our own children, and it's not going to be enough until it's your child. Then everybody is supposed to care when it's your child. It's messed up, ain't it? Last but not least, we're going to pivot. We're going to do a fourth story because I want to make sure that the people over in Detroit, high off the hills of the NFL draft, is aware of the new openings and the things that's happening in the city. A formerly abandoned train central depot that I personally explored when it was abandoned and when we thought that this building was supposed to be torn down has now been renovated. Total spent is supposed to be well over $1 billion. And that doesn't include all of the different changes within the neighborhood of the upgrades, the homes that's being built. And this is in Corktown, which is very close to downtown. And we're now seeing a lot of the wealth being spread out and the tentacles basically impacting the other communities around the city of Detroit. But for those of you that are familiar with the Michigan Central Depot, the train station, you know that this was largely considered the biggest eyesore in the city of Detroit. It has now been renovated, and there is supposed to be concerts and other things that is going on, including the entire place becoming a technology hub and for open houses. So take a look.
Well, now to plans for the debut of Michigan Central Depot after a renovation years in the making.
The big relaunch is set for June, but tonight Ford Motor Company is giving us a glimpse of what's in store for the celebration.
Of course, it comes on the heels of the incredibly successful NFL draft in Detroit last weekend.
The Depot debut will mark a transformation that once seemed impossible for the former symbol of blight, and like the draft, it's sure to get global attention.
7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cast is in Corktown tonight with what's in the works for a landmark celebration.
Well, it's been 6 years of work to restore this historic Detroit landmark, and the debut is almost here. And here in this recently renovated Roosevelt Park, nearby residents say the neighborhood has already been feeling the impact.
The park looks beautiful. The building looks beautiful.
Once ruins of a forgotten past, the grounds of Michigan Central Station are coming back to life.
I get on the bike, I take the riverfront all the way down this way.
Kelly Brown is here often.
Yeah, once or twice a week.
But even 2 years ago, that wasn't the case. This park was renovated and reopened just last summer, and the lifelong Detroiter says he's seen a major change.
I remember it was nothing going on in this area in particular, of course, so to have this, it's pretty dope.
Now this summer, another major change. On June 6th, the train station itself is opening to the public, planning to host a 15,000-person concert in the park and open the building for 10 days of tours. Those who live in nearby neighborhoods will get priority.
For a while there, I thought they should have knocked it down, but I'm glad they didn't because it's going to be beautiful.
That includes Anita Vargas, who has called Southwest Detroit home for 30 years. Lately, she's welcomed countless new neighbors and goes out for walks often, something she says she couldn't do before.
Detroit was going downhill, but now people are coming in. By fixing it up, people are moving back in, and it's just a lot safer.
It's been really, really exciting, and it's been a really cool thing to be a part of.
Grandma Bob's has called Corktown home for 5 years. The pizza restaurant hopes to open during lunch on weekdays once workers move into the old train station. But for now, they're excited for opening weekend.
I think June 6th is going to be a really fun time, really crazy. A lot of events, and we're looking forward to probably our busiest week ever.
Surrounding this once forgotten landmark, some residents say they began to feel forgotten too. But this major development, one of many that's bringing new life to the place they proudly call home.
It's cool, and it's night and day to my childhood.
It got to that point where people weren't caring about the neighborhood, but now people are caring, so they're taking care of each other. So that makes it really important for us.
And the full details of this concert have not been officially announced yet, but advanced registration is expected to be required. Michigan Central is expected to make those final announcements sometime next week.
So for those of you that are in the city and those of you that's going to be in the city in June, If you see it in my a lot of times, a lot of y'all can see it in my background when I'm live streaming from the spot that I got downtown. The Michigan Train Central Depot, they will be doing open houses. They will be having concerts. The entire park is renovated. Detroit actually created the first electric street. So they did a prototype electric street that's literally right next door to the Michigan train station. And so if you have an electric vehicle, when you park it on the street, it automatically charges. So there's a lot of technology, a lot of things that's happening within the city. I will keep you guys informed because I largely consider myself one of the ambassadors of the city. And so I want to keep you guys informed on what you can look forward to and also what's available and what's changing so that if you are an investor or you are a person that's participating here, then you get the best out of it and you can make the most of your money, because I've been advocating for y'all and I've been telling y'all for a long time where you supposed to be putting your money, how you supposed to be moving. Don't run to places that's already built up. The opportunity is when everybody left. That's when the buying opportunity is. The buying opportunity, the money is being made in the buys, not the selling, all right? So make sure y'all stay on top of that. I'm going to continue to keep y'all up to date on what's going on when it comes to quick hits.